Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Wednesday, the 25th of February, 2026, and you are on the clock with Erin, Greene. Today I'm supposed to call myself Bus Catcher Greene, not because I catch buses like stray dogs, but because I used to be a pedestrian. I used to be a committed pedestrian. I used to be committed to the idea that you should be able to move freely through an island that's only 21/7 at a relatively affordable cost using the public transportation system. Now, obviously, I am the one who has unfounded expectations. I've been a non-pedestrian for almost 20 years now. In the second segment of the show, we're going to have a guest coming in. We have a new segment. It's called A Pedestrian View. A pedestrian view, right? It's because being a pedestrian, I know, like, wholeheartedly, like I know with my heart that moving through New Providence in a car is entirely different from moving through New Providence on foot. I'm not just talking about the obvious, yeah, you move faster, you have control of your own movements. I'm talking about the perspective, like what people see when they're walking versus what people see when they're driving. So I have a guest joining me in the second segment so we could talk about that. What people see when they're really watching, when they're really looking. But I tell you what I could see. So today I wanted to continue yesterday's conversation, right? I enjoyed it entirely, and I gathered a lot of information about local plants that have far more value than we may be aware of. Things that are just commonplace in our society that we just don't know the value of. On my list, I have monkey tamarind and the green velvet bean. That's actually a plant. Madeira bark and mahogany. That's also just one plant. On the list, do you all know about the golden flower tree, also known as the golden flower laxative tree? I bet you see it all the time, but didn't know what it was. And then I realized that we have this thing here that's magical that we talk about, but I'm sure we don't understand the power of bay leaf. And of course, the cocoa plum, which is known as fat pork in the lower Caribbean, right? So I wanted to talk about some of that today, but look at the headlines. Look at the headlines. Dames confirms arrest of business partner. Dames distances self from U.S. arrest. Man accused of posing as female attorney arraigned on 51 charges. Fraud accused used female attorney disguise in elaborate scheme, and a breaking news story from Eyewitness News yesterday afternoon. Former Police Staff Association President Sonny Miller has been sentenced to 6 years in prison after being convicted on multiple drug-related charges. The sentence was handed down by Senior Magistrate Shaka Seville following Miller's conviction on 10 counts connected to drug offenses. 6 years for 10 counts connected to drug offenses. for not just a former police officer, but a former police staff association president. The blurb was very short. I was hoping that I saw a statement in this morning's paper. Yes, there is, in today's Guardian. We're going to read from that quickly because I think it's an important story. In the grand scheme of things, former police officer Sonny Miller gets 6 years after drug conviction. A former police officer was sentenced Tuesday to 6 years in prison for helping international drug traffickers smuggle cocaine and marijuana into the Bahamas. Sonny Miller, 49, on June 7, 2022, while at Spring Point, Acklands, helped Colombian smugglers Christian Aristizabal and Christian Aragon load 72 kilos of cocaine and 15 kilos of marijuana into a Royal Bahamas police jeep. According to evidence at his trial, Acting Assistant Chief Magistrate Shaka Seville condemned Miller's action, saying that as the officer in charge of the island, he was supposed to prevent the crime there, not participate in it. Let's stick a pin. That's why I'm thinking, why six years for a senior police officer in a position of authority I'm going to say within the force, although the Police Staff Association sits outside the force because technically it's like an entity representing the union, where police not supposed to have unions. Anyway, we continue. Prosecutor Shanika Carey called for a sentence of at least 5 years, the time handed to his co-conspirators after they took a plea deal in 2023. Their sentence was later reduced to 3 years as a reward for their cooperation in Miller's prosecution. So you're telling me that they did the 5 years, they got 3 years? Carey argued, quote, deterrence should be the predominant sentencing principle upheld here to ensure that there is no other abuse of this position of responsibility. Is 6 years? Miller's lawyer, Bjorn Ferguson, suggested a sentence of 2 years due to the inhumane conditions at the prison, his medical issues, and his constitutional right not to be subjected to torture, inhumane, or degrading treatment. Miller has a heart condition, diabetes, and hypertension, according to Ferguson, who raised concerns about whether the adequately treat him. Since his conviction last month, Miller spent 6 days in the prison's infirmary and 3 days at PMH. Ferguson said that Miller is supposed to receive insulin 4 times a day, but he had only been administered it twice since his incarceration at a facility that, quote, is not fit for human habitation. Now, let's stick a pin there. Stick a pin there. That part right there. Diabetes, if not treated properly, can result in death. Mr. Miller was not given a death sentence. He should be receiving his medical treatment when it is prescribed. That's just a given. Now, I hope that this sets a positive precedent and not a negative precedent. I can be honest, that's not real legal language as far as I know. But you understand what I'm saying? I hope that it sets a positive precedent, right? Because if the argument is successful, would it mean that any prisoner with a medical condition that cannot be adequately accommodated by the facilities at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services, any patient then should be given a shorter sentence? That part of the story is very, very important, and I hope we don't shy away from talking about it, because I don't want to talk about the rest of it, right? I mean, who wants to talk about it in this particular climate? But let this prompt us to have one of the highest rates of non-communicable diseases in the Caribbean? How then does that impact the law and sentencing? We continue reading from the article. While acknowledging harsh conditions at the facility, Seville said that sentencing should not be influenced by executive policy. He said he will not engage in judicial activism. Miller is not entitled to time off for good behavior due to the nature of the crimes. He has lost a significant amount of weight in the past month. Why is that part in the story? I mean, okay, you put it in, it's no problem. Assistant Director of Public Prosecution Terry Archer also prosecuted. Viola Barnett Major held a watching brief for the U.S. State Department. When people ask the question, are we serious about crime? I don't know. I wouldn't read this article into the record. Here, a couple of texts. Only 6 years, but young men with 5 pounds of dope get more. That's because y'all keep calling it dope. Stop calling it dope. Dope is heroin, okay? That's what dope is. By now, with all of the scientific information available to us, we can make a clear distinction between cannabis and heroin, cannabis and cocaine. Erin Miller, Mr. Miller should have thought about his medical conditions when he was doing what he did, allegedly. I mean, when he was doing them 10 things he got found guilty for, is what you mean. If I were a parent preparing my children for the world, this is one of the things that I would tell them. I would tell them about what people experience in jail. If I had an opportunity, I would take them under my guidance to an activity or an event where young people could interact with prisoners or released prisoners, people who have served their time, to get not that foolishness, shock treatment, not that at all. Until you prepared to shock treatment some of these very big grown people who wear ties and sit in houses, until you prepared to shock treatment the adult, are you shock treatmenting the young people? Anyway, just parents, tell your children that when they go to jail, they will be facing conditions that are inhumane, and tell them exactly what that means. Tell them men get raped in prison, and men are forced to risk a murder charge sometimes to defend themselves from rape. Here we go. Good morning, Erin. Isn't the senior police officer's lawyer on bail? The Bahamas has to be the laughing stock of the world. I didn't read the rest of it. You could tell I missed out a part there. Good morning, Ms. Greene. Please tell me if the Minister of Nationals... Okay, so the text is saying, we see the story, it's in today's Guardian. Dames distances himself from associate's drug arrest. Mr. Dames is now a former Minister of National Security. So the text says, do I think the conversation would be the same if the shoe was on the other foot? If it were a former Minister of National Security from the PLP party? Yeah, the conversation would be the same. I think at this level, the political culture is the same. Yeah, it would treat them both equally. Okay, so James distances himself from associate's drug arrest. PLP MP lashes out at PLP candidate. Southern Shore's MP Leroy Major has claimed in a social media video that his efforts in the area were, quote, sabotage, close quotes. This followed the circulation of another video in which the PLP party's candidate for the constituency, O.B. Roberts, said he had entered an arrangement with the prison to use inmates to clean up a park in the area. Quote, I'm out here clearing down a park area where people normally used to walk in the mornings and evenings in terms of exercising, and they had concerns that the park was tremendously overgrown, and it was extremely dangerous for them if they came out here and walked with their families or their kids in the mornings or evenings, said Roberts, who was also deputy chairman of the PLP. Quote, so if I just took it upon myself in a relationship with the Bahamas Department of Corrections to help clear down this area to make it safe for the residents. We go to page 6. For the residents of Marshall Road and Misty Gardens. And just in terms of making the environment safe for all Bahamians, and particularly the constituents of Southern Shores. Close quotes. I am not laughing at the desire for Southern Shore residents to be safe. Y'all know I'm not laughing at that, right? Because of course they deserve to be safe. Major, who is a PLP MP but did not receive the party's support to run again in the next general election, said there used to be a contract in place to maintain the park, but that was ended by, quote, someone at the PLP headquarters who controlled all of my contracts, close quotes. Quote, he said that the people at Marshall Road, Misty Gardens have been calling in and letting him know about the situation at the park, close quotes, Major said. Quote, he came and he got it done. But I must say that this park was always on a contract. Quote, for some reason it came off contract because someone at the PLP headquarters controlled all of my contracts. Take it and give it to who they want to give it to just to sabotage me. So, Mr. Roberts, we in Marshall Road, we in Misty Gardens, we thank you for cleaning up the mess that you created, close quotes. Major also commented on roadworks taking place in Miller Heights and Sunset Park, which he said he started. He said those works have nothing to do with Roberts and, quote, nothing to do with the PLP, close quotes. Okay, what a fascinating little space, right? I didn't hear Mr. Major say anything about the Golden Yoke program. I mean, yes, he is speaking in his capacity as an MP for Southern Shores and not in his capacity as former chair at BAIC. But it's a spotlight, it's a look into internal party politics. And for me, it becomes of interest when what you do inside your party impacts governance. You know how Obama's Constitution, Article 73(1)A says that whenever the Governor General has to appoint a prime minister, he must appoint the leader of the party that supports the most seats in the House. And if the prime minister doesn't call a general election or doesn't resign and goes back to his party and they have a convention and the stalwart councilors or the meritorious councilors in respective parties return the same person as leader of party, the governor general has no choice but to appoint that same person even though they lost the vote of confidence, right? Like that, right? So, do you remember after the budget, the series of articles that Barnaby had an hour and a half to speak in the House and he spent none of that time discussing the $7 million budget overrun at beaches and parks? Producer, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Alrighty. You know, I have to laugh at one or two things. You know,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Major, right, Leroy. He's a pastor, right?
Mhm.
And one of the things I find very interesting is that he's also an MP, which is an outgoing MP, I should say, because he knows why he's taking the position that he took. He knows why that he's being replaced in North Bend back again. And he sounds like he's sour. God, he should know better. I don't blame Mr. Roberts for doing what they did in relation to and we make it sound like it's a bad thing what he did with the prison. That is an ongoing program. All people got to do is go and find out for themselves. They could also have the same process done. And that was clarified earlier this morning on Dwight's show. The fact of the matter is, as I said before, he's just now sour that he didn't get the nomination, and he knows why. And the people in his constituency knows why, because they think he's lousy. As simple as that. And you know, you got to understand, as a party, you got to protect your interests. And at the end of the day, he is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, and he's saying, you know, it's really petty. I think it's really petty and a bad thing.
Let me ask you a question. You think Major soured the eggs, and that's why the Golden Yoke program took so long to take off?
No, I don't think anything in relation to that. I'm just talking about his personal issues. He, you know, bringing his laundry out in public. That being a man of God, he should know better. You know, if you have a problem and understand the fact that you have a problem with whatever is going on, yeah, discuss that internally. Because at the end of the day, the bickering and the fighting and so forth, that's not going to help you. You're not being renominated. And there's an obvious reason why you're not being renominated.
All right.
I mean,
So I appreciate your critique. The way that I look at it, I don't see it as necessarily exposing internal party bickering. I see it as exposing a process, because as far as I'm concerned, from Beaches and Parks was implemented, the power to assign contracts for community work is taken out of the hands of the MP solely and rests in the hands of Beaches and Parks, which should consult, and I can use the word intimately, right? Should consult with the MP and the constituency team foremost to identify available, and I want to use the word like they have the capacity, and then they technically or legally they are able to do it, right? To identify the people in the constituency who should be added to the list for consideration for bids, who should be added to the list, invited to offer a bid for a contract in the constituency. But Beaches and Parks takes that power out of the hands of the MP. Now, what I read then under the subtext or between the lines where there are no words, because, I read tea leaves, is that despite that policy, that there may still remain a practice where some MPs are able to direct those contracts themselves through Beaches and Parks, and some MPs don't have that same power. And I read that because I could still see the dregs of the tea that Mr. Major served us when he first said that backbenchers ain't getting no elected.
And like I said, I you'll be surprised to know why I said things like that. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But thank you very much for your candor. We're going to go to the text line. Text line says, "Good morning. I took my granddaughter, who's 4 years old, to the police station and asked the officer to let her see the holding cell where criminals go, just to teach her that crime doesn't pay." Okay, 4 years old may be a bit young. But introducing these lessons at that age is not too young, right? It's never too young to introduce the lessons. We can take some big grown adults to see the cell. Erin, I am a proud serving member of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and let me say unequivocally that I do not support or encourage any kind of corrupt or unethical behavior by anyone, including members of my organization. Anyone who is greedy and selfish enough to engage in such nefarious acts for the fullest penalty of the law. This includes politicians, church members, and the list goes on. Right? And I think that's where the issue sits, right? We consider the health issues, right? Like we read in the article, that's not an issue for a sentencing judge to consider, right? But when you volunteer to assume an authority, when you volunteer to join a force, a uniformed force, the public service, which is the civil service, which is the king's administrative army, that's what it is. The king's administrative army in this colony, right? When you assume that position, you take on an extra responsibility. You become an extraordinary citizen, and you should be treated like an extraordinary citizen when it comes to the law, and not in the way that y'all think. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Greene.
Good morning. How you doing?
Yeah, right here in the struggle. Great show. The thing is, the police salutes to the officer who sent the text just now.
Mm-hmm.
And we could always appreciate that. But the question then becomes for me, in my observations, is would he report them, or would he lambast them, or then he seen nefarious activity? It's just like, let's say I could use the head of the police force. She's bragged about 30-something years on the force. You trying to tell me they have never seen any malfeasance or nefarious activity, but they didn't report it? This was in the public, and I can see it, and nobody's reporting it. So whilst the officer may make a good stance, the question is, what are they doing about it? And what are the relevant authorities whose prerogative it is to do something about it? Whilst we the public suffer in case we come into these mal encounters with these mal officers. You have an officer on the run for who lost the case and got on the run for being accused of murder. You know. The
Yep.
question then becomes, what is the status of the Azario major case? Is it slipped into oblivion? These are the things I'm concerned about. There's many court cases, but I don't want to get on with that. I want to talk about the cannabis and people calling it dope, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, all they're showing is how ignorant they are. I sent you something last week. Study finds cannabis use in middle age and older adults associated with larger brain volume, better cognitive functions, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
It is because there's an increase in the usage of cannabis amongst older adults versus for alternative medicine. But maybe we should read that study.
Okay.
You understand me?
Yeah.
And the government is so reluctant. By the time we get into it, everybody would have patent out everything, and we'll be at a disadvantage.
You see what I'm
That's
saying?
all the flowering seed. Yeah, give thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. Blessings. Blessings. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Are you there?
Guardian Radio?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Erin?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
All right. Yeah, Erin, I agree with the last caller. It's for his part of the statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mr. Miller, I know Mr. Miller, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's played basketball before, but he's been in police for several years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he was caught not with 2 pounds of dope. I mean, like, a couple of keys of cocaine, I think it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, my thing is, that probably wasn't his first crime. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's phrase it properly, right?
Or the first time he engaged in activities that he should not do.
What I can say is I ain't not putting a novice in charge of moving a substantial amount of contraband through nation borders. I ain't putting no newbie on the job.
Oh, of course not. So my thing is, my question is this, I mean, what is the police intelligence, right? I know I think they have an intelligence unit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are they looking for?
Okay, so I think that perhaps they're using sort of the same model that the FBI uses, right? And it's sort of an urban culture joke that when the FBI decides to take you down, they've been watching you for 75 years. They was watching your Grammy. They suspected something was up with you when you was in your Grammy room, right? So perhaps what it is that they don't go after every single offense. They wait until they have either the best case possible or sufficient offenses to go forward, right? And so I appreciate what you could be a technical legal strategy.
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, my thing is the other day, the police got caught on Shirley Street. He was caught
soliciting assistance from tourists.
Right, but right now, what I'm saying is, I don't know if that's his first time. I mean, but that crime is very small compared to what Mr. Miller did, right?
Mm-hmm.
The police they can't catch the police got caught because the person had the video cam on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But think about it for a second. Couple hundred keys or couple keys of cocaine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, they got to be whispers. It's almost like, okay, both of us are from Johnson Road, right?
Yeah.
We not engaged in crime.
But we know what is be happening.
That's what I'm saying.
I got you.
I mean, we have an idea of why this person might be selling guns. Or he might be selling dope, right? So what I'm saying is the police intelligence unit, whatever they're called, right?
Yeah. See, but the problem is what we know is different from what we can prove, and what we could prove in the court of public from what can be proven in law, and that's why we call for pedanticism, right? Like ensuring that you have the correct word in the correct place. That's why we do not we don't risk prejudicing or perverting the course of justice with loose language in the public domain. Right. So, because we understand that those sorts of things, while they seem innocuous to us, can be used by eagle-eyed defense teams to protect a client from prosecution.
Understood.
Yeah, and so that's a part of it. It now. So I agree with you. It requires us to be tight and rigid as we want our officers to be, to ensure that we do not pervert the course of justice while we supporting the state seeking.
Understood, Erin. Thank you so much, yo.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller.
Hi. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. People got to realize that. Everybody went to the same situation where they know someone doing something,
mm-hmm.
and they go to the police, and because of you're not able to prove it, the police can't act on it.
Exactly.
It's not everything you think you see is actually what it is.
Yeah.
You understand? So you got to bear that in mind, because in that case, there'll be many people getting locked up for nothing. I mean, for the wrong accusation too. So you should be able to prove it and have the fact.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Right.
And for those who say, I ain't on that run. I ain't on that run. I don't like police. I don't like this government. I feel you. I appreciate your sentiments. But if you are sure that justice is being perverted, don't join the party. Then you tighten yourself up. See, I noticed that. We had not roadworks, we had a tree trimming exercise on the Eastern Road day before yesterday. And let me tell you what I observed. People who were obviously frustrated the traffic was backlogged, abnormally tight and backlogged. You know what they did to show their frustration? They slowed down even more. So to show their frustration that their movement has been slowed down, they slowed down even more to ensure that the people behind them experience the same level of frustration. We go into the phone line. Good morning, caller.
That's reminding me of causing the urge to stand still and take note of the moment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. You think we could have something like that at the polls where nobody shows up?
I think I think it would be. See, okay, because here's what it is. You can't. 5 people show up to vote. That ain't you. See what happened in Barbados? Mia Mottley won all the seats, but with between like a 35 to 40% voter turnout.
Nobody showed up.
Yeah, nobody showed up. That's an indictment on not just the governing party and not just the administration, but the political class as a whole. And it's a clear indicator that the social contract between the citizen and governance and those responsible for governance, that the social contract is falling apart.
It's broken, Erin.
Yeah, they don't care what y'all have to say.
The contract has been null and void a long time ago. Because when you really look at it, we were really, think about it. The privileged can get away with something that I can't. And I can witness that from the bottom looking up, right? They could plug in and play, and I have to.
Right.
They plug in and play, but I have to plug in and pay. So I understand where I am in this old. And now 52 mentions something so important about even attempting to patent an idea. You have to really now be screened by all the claims that Microsoft has patented, and then the minute you get your patent issued, you get a call from Amazon saying, claim so-and-so and so-and-so, kind of, we need to talk about this. You can use it, mind you, but you have to pay us.
That's a
motorbike.
I remember people telling me, you books, and get a Kindle, get a handheld device, read your books, carry them anywhere. Guess what? When Kindle tired of you, you don't have access to your books no more.
Thank you. So we are really becoming comfortably dependent.
Look here, we comfortabled ourselves right back into enslavement on the plantation.
Oh, Jesus, Lord.
That's it right there.
This hurts.
Yes, it does. Listen, I got another caller, and then we got to go to a break. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We so complacent with plantation model systems, we reinforce and re-entrench the plantation all on our own. All on our own. You don't see Kamala at CARICOM, was it yesterday or this morning, talking about Trinidad and Tobago will not tolerate a dictator anywhere in the world? Well, they fuss in Cuba on America's behalf. I mean, maybe on her own behalf. I don't know what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. All I know is that the people are lovely and the doubles are great. And doubles mean 2 Barra and not 1 Barra Bahamians. That's all I know. Let's go to the phone line.
Hey, Miss Greene.
Hi, good, thank you. How you doing?
Hey, quick question for you, right? You think technology has become better over the years, or people become stupid over the years?
Okay.
Because I ask this, right? The person who made drugs, in history pushes. I don't get it. Something got to be in the water.
I tell you.
Something either in the chicken, the water, or the air.
Or the education system.
The medication, you can't be that dumb.
Listen, we...
Miss
Hold on. We have. Listen. Before I let you go, the Tamarind reached Fox Hill yet? The Tamarind on the ground yet?
No, not yet. But guess what? Let the people know. Fox Hill people don't really like Dewey. That's like dark people in the States picking cotton.
Y'all just keep it for us, for the rest of us. Okay, I got you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I get one more caller before we go to the break. Good morning, caller.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all.
Good morning. How you do?
I'm giving thanks.
Yeah.
You know. But tell me something. How is it that Bahamians, right, are not calling for candidates? I mean, the major candidates, the Dane candidate, he's with National Security or Minister, right?
Yeah, former Minister of National Security, current candidate for Mount Moriah.
Right, and then Sebastian. These people accused. I mean...
Now listen, pause. No, pause. Let's stick a pin right there, right? Let's stick a pin right there.
No, I mean... let me mend that. Basildine has not been accused, right?
Listen, what you calling Basildine name for? I accuse him of not telling us about this cold front. It turns out I was wrong. I did not do my research. The Met Office been telling us about the cold front for days and days and days. Let's be very careful here. Because here's what I am realizing, right? I am realizing that it's likely that a Mr. Sebastian, who we presume had been engaged in illegal gambling for a number of years, may not have even breached the law. Like he may not even have touched the law to breach it. Because I suspect that what we experience without knowing it is that the government allowed legislation to exist that did not meet the changing nature of the industry, right? So did the legislation change to make e-shop gaming? Did it? I don't know. See, because when they detained every single employee in Flowers Web Shop and shut it down, and then remember when there were the rumors that the police were refusing to receive the detainees, to process the detainees, which was fair because there were so many people. I would be very concerned about bringing that amount of people into my police station as well. The next day or the day after all the web shops was open again and running again, was that a clear signal? So let's be very careful with this language, right? So I'm telling y'all, young people, these old people wouldn't tell y'all about the days of ZNS, but to see if you knew about the days of ZNS, then you'll know how entertaining your life is without foreign TV. That's it. Listen, we go into a break. When we come back from the break, a pedestrian view. I want to know what you see when you walk in the road. I can tell you what I see, and I have someone in studio to tell with a pedestrian view. Stay tuned to On the Clock with Erin Greene. We're coming right back.
Any dancer, oh, it's a shame. If you want to watch a dance, want to watch a prance, let her in a circle, watch that lady dance. She got a western move.
Wait, you know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Wait, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't bark down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and these boys coming for me next.
Alright, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did I boy?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the calls go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then if you get the pen from them, and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau, or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
The following is a paid political message.
Kalani. Whoa. Hey. Kalani. Oh, the future is brighter. Oh, vote for MacGyver. Hey, 'cause she is a fighter. Kalani. Hey, the future is brighter. Oh, if you need improvement, oh, come join the movement. Come join the movement. Hey, you're looking for change, find it here. You're looking for justice, find it here. You're looking for truth, find it here. Vote for MacGyver. She's here for you. See everybody in Kalani. Change is here. Hey, hands in the air. See everybody in Kalani. Vote for MacGyver. She is a fighter.
That was a paid political message.
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan. Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan to the 64.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Way down south, there's a place I know, home of the wild hog and donkey and flamingo, land of the salt, the sunshine and sea. And Aqua Island is the place to be. And once you get a taste, man, you gon' get hooked. And Aqua, man, boy, this sure gets hooked, I tell you. Aqua is the best.
Welcome back to On the Clock with Erin Greene. Okay, we're going to move into our second segment, but I'm going to read these texts because they may get away from me. I'm going to read them very quickly. It says, just because O.B. Roberts was serving as the deputy chairman at the PLP headquarters and sought nomination for the same constituency as the MP currently speaking, does it imply that O.B. diverted or stopped the MP's contracts to prevent the MP from being renominated, allowing O.B. to secure that nomination instead? No, it doesn't. That's what I was saying, right? Like, the way that it's supposed to work is that MPs don't have contracts, right? Beaches and parks can invite preferred, right? The MP can identify individuals who should be invited to bid for contracts. Another text, but I appreciate you wanting to ensure that it's clear, texter. What couple kilos, man? That was a shipment, bro. When the Coast Guard swooped down, he was seen loading bags. Miller's case is not a small case. The Colombians were informants. I mean, 3 years? 3 years? Anyway, here's another text. Good day, I guess you haven't heard the story. No, you have to tell me the story, text. I don't hear everything. And even what I hear, I don't hear it. Good morning, Miss Greene. Speaking to 52's marijuana study of improved cognitive function. Well, I work in the taxi stand every day and see evidence to the contrary, which is significant degenerative cognitive malfunction, individuals who deficient in sound basic reasoning ability. Unpainted speed bumps, a nightmare and a problem even in daylight. See, a proper study, right? You sure that the candidates that you're looking at are not also impaired by alcohol and or other substances, right? Okay, Tex, I got you. I will do. All right, caller, I'm so sorry. We got to move into the second segment. Producer, let's take the call very quickly. I see you've been 5 seconds. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I called about another piece of information in the paper. Did you just happen to read the article concerning the opportunities that's available for us to take from the cruise tourism?
Boy, listen, see, Alan, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, okay? I saw it. I can talk about that tomorrow.
Okay, then I'll reserve my call for that, because some numbers I want to give you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so right now I have joining me in studio Diana Hamilton. Diana Hamilton is a cultural advocate and stakeholder. She's also an internationally renowned musician. I mean, she's been making music in Paris, and I'm not old folk, but I could say there's some bangers. It's lit, it's contemporary. Some of it's not contemporary in the best way, right? It is beautiful. But I've asked Diana to join me in a new segment called A Pedestrian View. Like I said, I used to be a pedestrian, and now that I'm a car driver, the perspective is different, right? And I always have to remember that when I'm driving, that pedestrians see something different and act differently. So I realized, hey, let's take a look at the world from a pedestrian's view. So don't think I'm diminishing the conversation by calling it pedestrian. It is the view of a pedestrian. So Diana, good morning.
Good morning, Erin.
I know we kind of short on time, but that's because you were doing your research, right? And so next week we're going to have a full show. So here's a thing. Telling the people a thing that I have seen over and over again, and I didn't know what it was until my company began doing research on it. And really, we didn't begin doing research on it. We were trying to solve a problem someone was having in our family, which was that they were constipated and they had an extreme, like long, extended chronic constipation. And as soon as we found the flower, right, that can be over-the-counter herbal treatment for this condition, I realized that I was seeing it everywhere. In Sans Souci, on Johnson Road, on Chapel with a Chapel Street, between Market Street and Blue Hill Road, right? And it is called the golden shower tree. The golden shower tree, also known as the golden flower laxative tree, right? And so I was going to tell the audience, like my company sells tea bags of this tea. We have testimonials from customers who could talk about the efficacy of the product, of the plant, the tea bag. I'm not about selling nothing, but of the plant itself, right? And so one of the things I will be discussing in this segment is those things that I see that I realize that people don't see the value in, right? And so
that is so necessary. It's like we've gone blind for the most part. Everybody's on the road raging, and you can't see, like, they don't see birds, trees, sun, Now,
I could be honest with you, right? In the morning, let me put it like this. I also want to start a segment with an economist so we can begin conversation understanding what their personal economy is and what they need to be doing in their lives to keep pace with the national and global economic platform, right?
Much needed.
On the way to work, I budget my time.
Okay.
I don't plan to spend an hour. You had the Prime Minister, we can have roadblocks planned to spend 2 hours getting to work. Who has 2 hours? Who has an extra hour they could add to their already busy schedule to move through the country, right? So I'm very tight with my timing, and I realize that when you pass in Montague Foreshore, when you pass in like Dix Point to the ramp, people slow down almost unconsciously to watch the water. Right, without acknowledging the amount of time that then delays the people behind them, right? And so I realized, but it's a pedestrian's view you want.
That's an important point, because I think one of the things that fascinated me as a child was, when you go over Centerville Hill, you would see the sea. I miss it. You see Atlantis, you go all the way where all you see are buildings. People now own the beaches, and it is important to see that water.
Yeah, right. So how do we balance that, right? Well, one way is you have to make time in your day to pull your car up on the foreshore because there's lots of space, right? Don't say that it's inaccessible. And guess what? You're all sitting here with busy lives, right? You have to prioritize. We get migrant populations here like Indians and Chinese people who have 1.5 billion people in their country, right? Who come here and take advantage of the Village Road sidewalks. Now, mind you, hey, I'm not saying Baintown people could walk all the way to Village Road to go to Montague, but I'm saying that people in Camp Road use Village Road to access the ramp and the beach, right? That there are ways that you can do that without causing imbalance in the broader society. And so for me, a part of this discussion is also about like road safety. What's this relationship between pedestrians and drivers? What are pedestrians thinking? And in fact, last week, Tuesday, when I was in here, I was giving a guest lecture at UB, took a different route. The most disturbing scene. Some people launch into the road to cross the road in the midst of moving traffic. And they looking at the cars like, what you could do, you could hit me. And I want to say to them, but I can't because I need to focus on not hitting them and not obstructing traffic and going where I'm going. I want to say to them, you live in a country where a young boy was hit and killed on the side of the road and the culprit was charged $400. $400 was the fine. Do you understand? Do you have spatial awareness? Right? And so I am really excited about these conversations. Here's another thing I know people see all the time, but don't know what it is. They drive over it, they pick it up and break it up. Mahogany, valued timber, valued wood throughout the world, right? We got mahogany trees all over the Bahamas. But maybe we don't know because we don't refer to mahogany when we're using products from the tree. We call it Madeira bark when we're making bush tea. But that's the outer carp, that's the outer part of the fruit from the mahogany tree, which is called skypod.
Okay.
We use the outer hard, thick.
So that's that tree with that thick
bark, yeah.
Okay.
And when you look up, it has these green balls that you think are going to turn brown and be dillies, but they don't ever get. Outer part is medicine. The inner carp is medicine. The inner filament is medicine that is being widely produced at a commercial level all across Asia, India and Asia. We sitting here just driving over it.
And getting sick.
Right? While we could be drinking Madeira bark, Madeira tea, Madeira bark tea. Right? And here's some medicinal information. Now, I found information about Madeira bark online, right? But this is what is tickling me. I also found information from a local site, Grampy's Natural Wellness, right? So there are local practitioners who are looking into it. And of course, now we give the disclaimer.
Yes, of course. You have to.
Don't consume any bush medicine without consulting your doctor, especially if you are already on medications, right? Because the next thing, just I know we're getting ready to go, producer, the next thing that I just happened upon when I was walking in the bush trying to pick wild passion fruit, right? Monkey tamarind. I walked right into a patch of monkey tamarind, right? While I was foraging for fruit. And did you all know, see, we talk about, you've been in the bush doing badness, monkey tamarind catch you. You want somebody wrong you want revenge, get them the monkey tamarind. We don't waste monkey tamarind around here, people. Because the green velvet bean, which we call monkey tamarind when it gets brown and the hairs get spiky and irritable, is used in so many ways. Let's go. It has neuroprotective and mood enhancement properties. Due to dopamine production, it helps improve motor skills, coordination, and mood. Similar to soybeans, they are high in protein. That's when they're green, right? 23 to 35%. Carbohydrates, 42 to 64%. And minerals like iron, calcium, and potassium. It also has anti-diabetic and antioxidant properties. Studies show velvet bean can lower blood sugar and contains phenolic compounds with high antioxidant.
That is an amazing plant.
Right? And it's
right. This conversation is, I am passionate about preventive medicine. And if my son has anything, I'm the first person he calls. He does not go to the doctor. The minute somebody says they're ill, I start looking for remedies, right? And so I think that including this would be fantastic.
Right, because you typically don't see it when you're driving, but if you're walking,
you see it.
You will see it poking out of the bush, poking over the wall.
I remember walking, because I have a dog, and I used to live, that park after you pass Fish Fry. that big park there. And I was having a walk with somebody, and they were pointing, did you know this is blue violet and this is that? And I was, so there are people who know.
And listen,
thank God.
Let me tell you, one of the people who knows is I had the pleasure of hosting BANROP, that's the Bahamas Network of Rural Women Producers, on the show.
Okay.
On their return from a mission to Kenya. And they told the story. I went to visit his indigo farm. And guess what?
Why?
He told them that he found the indigo that inspired his farm in the Bahamas.
No.
Yes. Been to Inagua? Listen, you gotta go. You gotta walk your country. You gotta go to all the islands. You gotta walk the streets. You gotta see it. So we're gonna be bringing views from various members of various communities to the table so we could understand the Bahamas from a pedestrian view. Anyway, you guys, y'all come go with me. Now, producer, why you don't play Jammin' by Gino D? We Jammin'? That'd have to be a classic. I just forget it. And then when I see it again, I remember. It's a classic. You guys, we have everything we need
right here
for ourselves.
That's right.
Right here.
Right here.
Cultural imperialism wins when you do not believe you can take care of yourself.
That's right.
Kamla, we gotta talk. Because you say you ain't into no dictators anywhere. You sure? Anyway, y'all hear the sweet music? Stay tuned. Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Nuri is up next. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you too, Erin.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian